Welcome back to the Built Local podcast. Today we have Michael from NoCo Pet Doors. Is that how you say it? NoCo or North Colorado, or how do you like to say it?
Technically with the state, it's just NoCo Pet Doors.
Okay, got it. Awesome. Cool. Well, we got you on here. Very, very unique business model. So I can't wait to learn more about it. How you doing today, Michael?
I'm doing great, Clay. I'm excited to be here. It's always awesome to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure. So for anybody who doesn't know, tell us about your business. Like, just give people a rundown of what you actually do, because I don't think a lot of people know of this industry.
Sure. So we specialize in the installation of in-glass dog doors. Anything from storm doors, French doors, sliding glass doors, anything with glass we can put a pet door into. And that's really our specialty.
Wow. And how in the world did you get into that service?
Sure. So in 2015, I started with a glass shop just as an entry-level glazer. The franchise wanted us to push the in-glass dog doors about 2 years after I'd started. And in a matter of months, that was 90% of what we were doing. So Colorado is the second highest per capita selection of dog owners. I did that. I was actually the first one to install a dog door there, and worked my way up to the sales and ops manager. Due to some outside factors, the owner had to step away and the business basically dissolved. And at that point, I told my wife, I said, hey, I can do this as a business. Give me 3 years. And if it doesn't, then I'll go back to residential commercial glass, but we ought to explore.
Awesome. Okay. Did you have any experience with entrepreneurship before that moment, or were you just kind of like forced into it from the business dissolving?
I had 4 failed businesses before that point.
Okay.
Nothing that really took off necessarily. Good lessons learned in all of them.
Yeah, for sure. Were they in similar industries, or what industries were those in?
No. So the first one was clothing. I was hand printing clothing. The second one was smart home automation. So installing different smart home devices for people. Tried power washing for a very short amount of time. And then just some digital art, digital products like that.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. And what was the first year of business like when that business kind of dissolved and you're like, I'm going to go out and do this on my own? Like, how did it go?
It was tough. We had $800 between the two of us to start. Really, we needed that first lead to make that deposit of the total price, and then we were able to order materials. I had seen the install and the admin side of it, so I was prepared for that. I knew kind of what advertising was working at the time.
Yeah.
And I really just hit the ground with I didn't have money to pay a marketing agency or anything, or my brother-in-law built me a one-page website while he was in coding school that we had up until like 2 years ago. So it was tough. It was a struggle, but I learned so many different lessons from it.
Yeah, for sure. I bet. Where were you getting, some of your first jobs? How did you get some of your first jobs?
So I basically contacted every person that I knew lived in northern Colorado. And I just said, hey, I'm doing this. Do you or anybody you know need a dog door?
Boom.
I
love that. That's literally what I talk about when I'm talking to other people who are starting a business. And like, how do I get my first customers? It's like, right now, you don't have any trust, any reviews, any testimonials. So what you need to do is you need to go to the people that already do know you, like you, and trust you, and ask them if they know anybody, because it's the easiest way. It's totally free. And everybody's got 300 to 1,000 contacts sitting right here on this phone of theirs, So that's incredible. Did it kind of take off from there? Or what was like kind of trajectory like from?
It was a real slow incline over time. Okay. I think the next big swing that we saw was when we started implementing organic social media. Once we had some money in the bank account, we got yard signs and door hangers.
Nice.
And at the time, I was doing the sales, the installs, doing all of it. What I would do is when I would install for someone, I would hang door hangers on the 2 houses on either side, and then the 3 across the street. And then pop in a yard sign if they'd let me. Yeah. And that was the next big arc up.
Real quick, if you're a local business owner and you want to start getting customers from Google, you know how important Google reviews are. Every week, I talk to business owners just like you across hundreds of industries who know reviews matter, but never seem to have the time or the system in place to actually get them. That's exactly why I've spent the last 2 years building Review Harvest. We built it with a non-tech savvy business owner in mind, so anybody can set it up in minutes and start getting reviews today. It automates the process of getting real reviews from your customers, responding to those reviews, and repurposing them across your website and across your social media platforms.
platforms. It's a set it and forget it software. You can get it all set up in about 10 minutes and you never have to worry about reviews again. We can integrate into the tools you're already using so you don't have to change a thing. You don't have to train your team on how to request reviews. You don't have to request them manually. You get customers, we get your reviews. It's simple as that. And the first play in our playbook is what we call a review reactivation. You probably have hundreds or thousands of previous customers who loved your service but never left your review. So a lot of times our users can double or even triple their reviews just in the first couple months of working with us when we do that review reactivation.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like with the organic social media side of it, it's a very Instagrammable service. You know, I think like when I think about, my wife has talked to us about, we don't have dogs, we have cats, but talked to us about how nice it would be for us to have a cat door out to our back porch that's about to get strained in, you know, but we have a glass door. We have like a door that's mostly glass, and it's like, oh, we don't know how to do that. So I think it's a very cool like pain point to hit on. And like so talk about the 5 rounds when you're going to drop those. Would you just get people calling you from the yard signs and the door hangers, or was it more just kind of like the more awareness out there, eventually things started coming?
I would say it was a little bit of both.
Okay.
Primarily people calling us from the yard sign. I think that was the biggest lever.
Awesome.
Because before I would ask permission from the homeowner if we could leave it there, I would pop it in. Popping it in the front yard is the first thing I did. So at a minimum, it was there for the hour and a half that I was there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you see that happen in a lot of like exterior services or home services. Well, they'll get an A-frame or something, right? And while they're there, that's gonna be sitting in the middle of the driveway. Like we had somebody detail our cars yesterday. And in our little street group chat, by the end of the time they were done cleaning, somebody in our group chat said, "Hey, just met y'all's car detailers. They're doing ours tomorrow," you know? And so it's just like the little things like that add up over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The person that
sure.
details ours, we found from a neighbor, and then all the rest of us neighbors have gone through them. So that's a great way to get your name out there.
Yeah, of course. Well, for someone who doesn't know, what like pricing wise, just like for context, what does a pet door normally cost on the super low end to like the super high end? Kind of give us a range.
Sure. The cheapest option is if you have a normal swing door. If we're just cutting through that, it's our install rate plus the cost of the door. Out the door, you're probably looking $800 to $1,000.
Okay, yeah.
On the high end, we have a Wi-Fi door that has just about everything other than face recognition for your dog. And that's going to run you $3,500 to $4,000 depending on the location that we're putting it.
Wow. So the Wi-Fi door, I'm guessing that comes with some sort of app where you can like lock it and not lock it from your phone, or what are all the features of that?
Sure. So you can set profiles for different dogs. It has an always in feature. So you can say, hey, I only want it to open between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Mm-hmm. And if they go out at 7:59, it'll let them in, but it won't let anyone back out.
Yeah.
Gives you instant control from anywhere. You can set profiles, set time frames. It's pretty all-encompassing.
Wow. So with the profiles, does it know what dog's coming in, or like can it register like if this is one of their dogs and let that dog in, or how does that work?
That's a great question. It has the new company that we're with has just a little chip that you can put on their collar, and then that chip is basically numbered, and then you give it a name so it knows which dogs are who.
Wow.
The other one that we were offering for the last few years, it would just depend on which collar the dog was wearing.
Okay. Gotcha. That's really interesting, because I know that like one thing that when I was growing up, we had raccoons come to our house before because we just had a normal dog door just flapped, you know? And so we would sometimes get unwelcome visitors in the house with that. So that's really, really beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I've waited 6 years for this company to bring this door to market, and they just brought it in the last few months. The owner there at Pawport, he's just like, he wanted it absolutely bulletproof, which it is, and just perfect before they brought it out.
Wow, that's impressive. That's really impressive. Nowadays, so you started with the 5 rounds and the yard signs, and doing some organic social media. Growing from there. How long have y'all been in business now? How many years has it been?
6 years.
Okay, 6 years. And where do y'all get most of y'all's leads and traffic now?
Sure. Almost all of our leads come from Meta ads.
Wow. Okay.
I would say probably the other 15 to 20% come from Google and our website, the SEO side of the internet. But Meta ads is our bread and butter.
what do those ads look like? So like, what are y'all doing videos or photos, or kind of what's the creative look like?
Sure. One thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is that when you're running a Google ad, people are looking for your business. When you're running an ad on Meta, they're not looking for you. They're doom scrolling.
Yeah.
So you have to 10x the hook of your ad. And that took me 2 years to get to the point where it is now.
Yeah.
And typically what we'll do is our best ad that we ran last Christmas, it was just me and the camera. And the hook was, your dog is a hostage, but you don't need a negotiator to set them free. Hearing that your dog is a hostage is just a combination of words that no one has ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
From there, it's very concise. We install dog doors that are safe, secure, and energy efficient. We can put them in your glass, your wall, or an entry door.
Wow.
And then usually some sort of offer depending on the video. $100 off installation. We typically just do one offer per video.
Okay.
And then we'll run a static post as well in that ad set and let Meta kind of decide where someone is in the funnel and present those to them.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. Have you seen those ads? I've seen service companies make them. I've seen like realtors make them now, where they basically make it look like a Ring camera or something. They make it look like CCTV footage of like somebody getting robbed. And then it's like, oh, you have a really good service. Like the one that I saw was like, it was somebody detailing a car, and it was like a Ring camera of the driveway. And the guy's like, they blur out. He's obviously not holding a gun, but they blur out his hands. They're like, hey, hands up, hands up, hands up. And then they're like interviewing him like afterwards. They're interviewing the owner of the business like it's like a news conference or something, like going in from the news. Yeah, so it was the craziest thing. Guy came up, was trying to rob me, and then it turns out the car was super clean and he was interested in a detail. So we ended up exchanging contact details. You could do the same thing, like put a ski mask on and like video yourself going through a dog door.
Yeah.
Somebody snuck into our house and was trying to rob us. And it's like, but then they were so amazed by our dog door that they're interested in our service. That's awesome.
That's genius.
It's like Facebook and Meta. It's like, it's all interruption-based marketing. It's like, how can you get somebody's attention and drive demand or create demand when they're not actively looking for your service? I would imagine like y'all have a service that's not getting a lot of search volume, probably. Like there's probably not a lot of people typing in like in-glass pet door installation.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of people just don't realize it's a thing. The company I was with before, the motto was a dog door in glass. Yep, it's a thing.
Yeah.
To this day, my sales guy will hear it 50% of the time. We didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, exactly. I bet. So I've been in business for 6 years now. How many dog doors are y'all installing per year now on average?
So let's see, we do between 15 and 20 a month. So 200 to 250 in a year.
Wow. That's incredible. And what's been kind of the most challenging part of growing the business so far?
I want to make sure I don't get in trouble here. For me, it's been the logistics. Our lead time that we tell people if we're ordering glass is 4 to 5 weeks. And we order from a glass manufacturer who cuts it before they temper the glass and everything. And typically we get the glass in 3 weeks. Well, sometimes it'll be 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And there's no communication necessarily between one and the other to tell us like, hey, it's going to be a bit longer. My office manager, Mary, who just incredible. She does a really good job of following up on glass orders and things like that. So I think just the logistics aspect has been the most difficult.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine that being challenging. But then when it comes to like your customers, like in obviously your reviews, like you've got glowing reviews and people love y'all. So like what do y'all do to keep customers super happy even when having to deal with those logistics and stuff like that?
Sure. So one thing that I've noticed as I've looked at other businesses, and you can do this yourself, any service business, if you look at their reviews that aren't 5 stars, 99% of the time, it's a communication. We didn't hear back from them. They didn't pick up the phone, especially after something went wrong. And I think keeping that avenue of communication open is the biggest part of the customer experience where you can really wow them.
Yeah.
So from the time you get an estimate set, you get an email and text. Yeah. When the sales rep is on his way, you get a text that he's on his way. When the installer's on his way, you get a text that he's on his way. And then we do follow-ups throughout the 4 to 5 weeks. And a lot of times it's just saying, hey, we're still waiting on the glass, but people appreciate knowing.
For sure. That's great. Yeah, I think we just had fiber and we're working on getting fiber at our house, internet, and they had to like pull the cable and all sorts of stuff. It's been like a over a month-long process. And we've been getting charged for it too. It's like one of the things, I'm not frustrated because I know you said you had to pull the fiber from down the street. I'm not frustrated about how long it's taking. I'm frustrated that we're getting charged and nobody's responding to us. Just like, can you just tell us where we're at? When can we book? When's the next time? When it's going to happen? Just give us some sort of communication. Because I'm like, it's a good thing they don't have a Google business profile, because I'm ready to leave a negative review. It's like, we've paid for our internet 2 months in a row now. We haven't gotten internet.
Yeah, absolutely. I've experienced that personally as well. And even just someone to answer the phone so you know you're not getting ghosted.
For sure.
Goes such a long way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, back to kind of, kind of all your reviews. You've got some great reviews. What has your experience been like working with Review Harvest so far?
Dude, I'm like the biggest brand ambassador for you. I was doing everything I could, and it was frustrating because you install and people are like, this is incredible. I loved it. It was such a great service. And it's like, hey, can you give me a Google review? And you never hear from them again. We had in our goodie bag that we leave after each install, there's a thank you card with a QR code. That converted better than almost anything else. But when we initially onboarded with Review Harvest, I think we had 35 reviews, and we put blood, sweat, and tears into getting each one of those reviews, minus my mom, my wife, and both my sisters. Those are the first 4. And it was just so that we actually had a whole follow-up process where my office manager, Mary, would call the customer 2 weeks later and try and prompt them to leave that review. And when we onboarded with you, my co-founder, Tim, in another business, he's also my mentor, he was like, you got to check these guys out. It's like, all right, whatever. So I got on with you, and like $5 per Google review. And I was like, all right, I'll maybe get 5. I can part with the $25. And then it was like overnight, there was like 40 Google reviews. And then there was 50, and then there was like 65 to 70. And I was like, in the span of, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, we had doubled our Google reviews.
Yeah.
And geez, we got to get some installs done, pay Clay, because I was not expecting it. It's been an awesome experience. You're one of the only, I'll say, vendors that we deal with that I don't ever have to contact you. I don't ever have to, the process just works.
We love to hear that. I mean, that's like the whole reason we built Review Harvest. It's like, you've got so many things that you have to deal with as a business owner. And so if we can just take one thing off your plate that you don't have to worry about, and you don't have to worry about like paying for something that you're not getting results for, it's pretty clear. We either get your reviews or we don't, and you'll see it, And so, yeah, no, we're really glad that we can take that off your plate. And I appreciate the kind words. And I know you touched on Tim and kind of your other business. Tell us a little bit about Service Catalyst.
Sure. So when I was about a year into business, and I was working 80-hour weeks doing the sales, the installs, the customer communications, and I went on to a local Facebook word of mouth group and just said, hey, I'm willing to pay for coffee. I just want to meet with other business owners. And he was one of 2 people that responded, and a hyper successful entrepreneur, multiple businesses, from bootstrapping it to acquiring businesses, just all of it. And my trajectory just instantly changed. I knew there was a way to have a business that runs without me. Yeah. I just didn't know where to start or what that looked like. And that really was the genesis of Service Catalyst. Is we took that and blueprinted it, and we took all of the things that work and span across businesses, and we put it into a digestible resource. Yeah. So there's the resource part of Service Catalyst. It's a peer mentorship community. Mm-hmm. So instead of going to a Facebook group and saying, hey, what are you doing for lead gen? And having, Chesty Puller, who you don't know if he's ever owned a business, telling you what to do. And then you put all your advertising, these are service-based entrepreneurs who have met with Tim or Josh or I. Mm-hmm. And so there's a level of vetting.
Yeah.
And it's just a great community. People get feedback. We have a few different courses. So I created the 10X Ad Lab, which takes you through exactly all the information you need to script, edit, and run a meta ad.
Yeah.
I see a lot of ads where it's just the hook is, hey, Fort Collins, I'm Michael Wendt. I'm the owner here at and just like whoever would have bought from me is already scrolled. So it focuses on just making a clear and concise ad that's going to convert. We've got an HR Foundations course one of our members made. There's a masterclass from Tim There's one about buying businesses, and then there's one that will just kind of get you up to speed on the blueprint. And then there's coaching aspects as well in small groups and live weekly meetings. But the genesis of Service Catalyst is really creating or helping entrepreneurs create businesses that run without.
Wow. Yeah, it's so valuable. I mean, it's like you can conceptualize and watch YouTube videos about how that might look or how that should look, but until you're with a small group of business owners who have done it or in the process of doing it, it becomes so much more real when you actually are sitting down with people and talking to like, hey, here's exactly what you're doing, especially with, whether it's from lead gen to HR. I mean, everything HR for me personally is like super overwhelming. I'm like, that would be at where I'm focused. I'm like, payroll, benefits, how do we do this, right? With like the lead gen, I'm like, okay, this is like kind of my bread and butter. I can figure it out. But like but it's opposite for other business owners, right? Some people are like, I can understand payroll, but they're like, I need help with ads, and it's such a valuable place to be able to connect.
Absolutely. That's really the heart of Service Catalyst, is bringing all those different viewpoints and skill sets together, and that tide raising everyone's ship.
Yeah, for sure. Well, where can people go to find out more information about Service Catalyst?
Sure. Any social media platform that's out there, it's just Service Catalyst. And then thecatalystcommunity.com is our new website. So you can go there and that'll give you the rundown of everything. But anything that has Service Catalyst on it is going to point you back to that website.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have a lot of service-based business owners listening to this, so definitely check out that resource. We'll have it linked down below in the description here. But we always kind of like to close out with one piece of advice. I think you have a unique perspective here because you have the business and you also have Service Catalyst. What's one piece of advice that you would give to a service-based business owner who might be kind of where you were at when you met with Tim, who posted like, I just want to talk to business owners, I'm overwhelmed, working all the time, maybe not making as much money as you want, or you don't know how to kind of like hire people or take some load off you? What's a piece of advice you would give them?
No matter what it is you're dealing with or you're struggling with, someone has been there before, and you just need to find that person. Whether that's in Service Catalyst or just going to local networking meetings, there's someone that has the answer, and they will save you years if you just put the shame aside and just ask.
For sure. No, that's such good advice. I can't tell you how many times I've been in small group coaching communities or coaching groups or just networking with people. When I ask a question that I'm like, they tell me something, they're like, yeah, we get customers from here, or we do this, that, and the other. I'm like, wait, what did you just tell me? And they're like, yeah, we just have, we hired somebody else to do our sales, which, could seem basic, but when you're in the trenches and you are in the forest and you're working 80 hours a week and you're like, wait, you're telling me that somebody else could do all the sales and lead follow-up and all the stuff that I want to do, it's like, boom, right there. Your belief broken. You can hire somebody to do it no matter what sort of business or whatever it is. So that's really great advice, Michael. Well, we'll have all your stuff linked down below in the description. We'll have the Pet Doors company linked down below there as well. So if you're in kind of the area and you're interested in an in-glass pet door or a pet door, feel free to click that link down there as well. Anywhere else people should get in touch with you specifically?
Service Catalyst, and then Michael the Hungry on Instagram. That's where I spend most of my time. Yeah, any of those. I manage all the social profiles, so pretty easy to get a hold of.
Sweet. Awesome, Michael. Well, we really appreciate you hopping on, telling us about your business, telling us about Service Catalyst, and spreading some wisdom for everybody here. Well, we'll have all that stuff linked down below. Like I said, make sure to check it out. And Michael, have a great rest of your Thursday.
Thanks, Clay. You too, man.